Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the best latte in Bristol, with perhaps the best backdrop. Now, I've been invited here today by my very good friends at Rolls Royce Motorcars of Bristol to drive a very special Rolls Royce. But first things first, I'm going to enjoy some coffee, enjoy the reading that has been left around. This should be a good video. You know, this has got to be one of my favourite car showrooms. It seems like only yesterday that I was in here configuring my Dawn black badge, and then a few months later we actually collected the car. But today I'm here to drive something very different. Yep, today I'm going to be driving the first SUV from the Goodwood factory. Today I'm going to be driving the Rolls Royce Cullinan, and it's parked just over here. Come on. Let's come and take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Rolls Royce Cullinan, and I have the key so we can have a really good look around this car. Now, this is a launch car, and there are actually 8 inspired specifications that you can choose from, which are pre-configured by Rolls-Royce, or you can fully customize the car yourself if you so wish. This particular inspired specification is called Odyssey, and it's actually finished in a sapphire black. Now, you would look at that car and it's got some blue hues to it. It's really interesting color. Very, very nice interior as well. Now, what I need to say about Cullinan is, for me, this is definitely one of those cars that you need to see in person. I think lots of people at launch saw the photographs and all the kind of press and the videos around the car and made their mind up whether they liked it or not. When you actually see one of these in person and you start to look at the details, it's full of really interesting features. So what I'm going to do in this video is basically take us on a guided tour around the outside, the inside, and then we're also going to take this car up the road and I'm going to get to drive it and tell you exactly what it's like to drive, and maybe also importantly be a passenger in as well. So I think we start off the review in the most important place to sit, behind the steering wheel in the driver's seat. Come on, let's take a look at Cullinan. Now, I'm really lucky. I've been in lots of Rolls Royces now. I started off quite a few years ago. I was a passenger in the back of a Phantom, which was my first Rolls Royce experience. But since then, I've got to not only be a passenger, but I've also got to drive quite a few. I've driven a Wraith and a Ghost and a Dawn, and very shortly a Cullinan. But the thing that surprised me the first time I got to drive a Rolls Royce was just what a great driving experience they are. Now, clearly you would associate this car with being driven along effortlessly in super splendor and very, very quiet, but they are high performance cars. Now, this is a big SUV, and the thing that amazes me, one of the most amazing stats about Cullinan, is this car will do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds. Underneath the bonnet, we have Rolls-Royce's famous 6.75 litre V12. That's producing 571 PS and 850 Newton meters of torque. So this is going to whoosh you along the road in a magic carpet ride of splendour and excellence, and likely to put a very big smile on your face. But when you sit behind the steering wheel of a Rolls Royce, you look down over the big long bonnet, you see the Spirit of Ecstasy ahead of you, but you are surrounded by the most beautiful choice of materials, and Cullinan is absolutely no exception to that. You kind of look along the dash, the beautiful choice of wood and materials. You've got a beautiful analog clock there with Cullinan, I really like that, and this lovely kind of control for the MMI with a Spirit of Ecstasy on it. It's a very, very special place to sit. You may well end up being sat in the back of one of these, and luckily this car has been spec'd very nicely and there's some very cool touches in the back. So let's jump in the back and become a passenger. And I'm also going to keep hanging on to this. It's not often you get the key to a lovely brand new Rolls Royce, and I'm going to hold on to this for as long as I can. But let's jump in the back. Getting into a Rolls Royce is always so special with these coach doors and you just push a button to close the door behind you, and you are surrounded with luxury in the back. Your feet sink deep into the wool carpet. You're surrounded with beautiful leather and wood, and this car's been spec'd to give you the ultimate pleasure on a long journey, because if I just push this little button here, down comes my tray table, opens up my own TV screen. I've got my own little DVD player down there, my own climate control, and I can just put my seatbelt on, relax and watch a movie and let Jeeves drive me along to my destination in style. I just think that is fantastic. I could just play with this all day long. But this is a 4x4. You want to be able to use it for practical stuff like, I don't know, towing a horse box or filling the boot full of things. So let's take a look round the back. You'd be surprised. Now hopefully there will be many Cullinan owners that actually use this car for the purpose it was designed for, and that is going off-road and doing stuff. I don't know, going shooting, towing your horse box to an event, and there's plenty of room in the back. Everything is electrically assisted, as you would imagine. You can just push a little button on the side here, and basically the seats drop. The loading area, now the loading area is flat, but there's a lip that goes up to where the seats are, but have no fear, you simply push a little button down here, and that's called load assistance. There's like a little ramp that raises up to smooth the floor of the boot. There's also an storage area here. Now that's big enough to actually store the parcel shelf if you don't want to have the parcel shelf there, but yeah, all in all, a very, very practical boot size. And also there's an electrically assisted tow bar as well. So if you do want to tow stuff, then, you know, what cooler way to do it than with a Rolls Royce Cullinan. Still my favourite feature of any Rolls Royce. Just in case it rains. So one of the things you might hear people say about this car is it's just so big and unwieldy. It's a similar height and width to a Range Rover, and it's 11 centimetres shorter than a Ghost. So actually, although it looks like a big car, and it is a big car, it's not as big as you may well think. And the styling is so typically Rolls Royce, this beautiful chrome grille. This particular model has an illuminated Spirit of Ecstasy, which I think is a super cool touch. You can clearly choose different ladies to be on the front of your car, but very, very beautiful. It's sat on 22-inch wheels, and the coachwork and the finish is just sublime. But I'm getting impatient. I just want to take this car out on the road and put it through its paces and just see what it's like to drive, see what that performance feels like. Here we go. I love driving Rolls Royces because you don't even have to close the door. So, if you've never driven a Rolls Royce before, push button start, fairly standard. So quiet. But then you've got this control for the gear selector behind the steering column, and then off we go. So here we are then, out on the open road in the Rolls Royce Cullinan. First impressions are, this does feel like a big car, predominantly because of the length of the bonnet, and also it's got a really elevated driving position. It feels just like all the other Rolls Royces I've ever driven, but you're just so much higher up. You've got this really lovely kind of looking down on everybody driving position. Super smooth, super quiet, as you'd expect. So we're going to take it on a range of different types of roads. When you're driving a Rolls Royce, we always have to pop into Berwick Lodge for lunch, and very nice it is too. I've just had the most spectacular venison bangers and mash. So now we are fully fueled. Let's go and put this car through some more of its paces, shall we? So I do have to say a massive thank you to Bradley from Rolls Royce Motorcars in Bristol, because this car has 184 miles on the clock, which is pretty much the mileage from the Goodwood factory to Bristol. And in fact, the guys from Love Cars helped Bradley make the most superb collection video. I'll put a clip above right now, but it's really super. But that's pretty much all the mileage this car has done. So as we enter the motorway, this kind of the marketing phrase effortless everywhere strikes me as absolutely perfect for this car. It's so smooth and so powerful. Oh dear. So forget any of your preconceptions about this car from a looks point of view. It's all about, you've got to drive this car to fully appreciate it. So a few stats about this car. It has a chassis that's actually been developed from the Phantom chassis, but it's specifically been rejigged and developed for Cullinan. This is the Rolls-Royce's first four-wheel drive car. It also has four-wheel steering, although four-wheel steering first appeared on Phantom, and you really do notice it. It's also got an amazing turning circle. Even at slow speeds and manoeuvring round, you can turn this car around really, really quickly, which is surprising for such a big car. Now, I did think this car would be a little intimidating to drive. The one thing we haven't talked about is price. So the base price for this car is £252,000, and then these launch editions have a whole range of options on them, which pretty much adds up to around £300,000. So it is intimidating thinking about the value of the car I'm driving, but from an accessibility point of view, from how easy it is to drive, really, it's just like driving a big SUV, but it's got all of these lovely things that make it a very, very special driving experience. I love the view out the front of this car. Up ahead, I can see our Spirit of Ecstasy leading the way, but I've also got a head-up display showing me my speed, obviously, but also the current speed limit of the road. And if you were to go over that, your speed changes to red. So you kind of always got that reminder when you're driving too quick. Because surprisingly, in this car, I think you could end up driving much, much faster than you think, because it's just so quiet and so smooth and so very, very powerful. Now, I know you would expect this of a Rolls Royce, but the ride quality in this car is simply sublime. We're on a kind of dual carriageway motorway, so the road surface is pretty good, but we just effortlessly glide over any imperfections in the road surface whatsoever. So one of the reasons for the ultra smooth ride in this car is it's actually fitted with stereo cameras that monitor the road surface ahead, look for lumps and bumps and imperfections, and then get the suspension ready for them so that the ride can be as smooth as possible. And I just think that's absolutely incredible. What a great bit of road. We've got both 7 bridges in view, and the sun's come out just for our review. So Rolls Royces are well known for their waftability and magic carpet ride, and the big question is, can that translate into a big four-wheel drive like the Cullinan? And the simple answer is absolutely. This car wafts with the best of them, and the ride is super, super smooth. So as the sun starts to set, maybe I need to start bringing this video to a close and giving you my final impressions of this car. I've been wanting to drive this car for quite some time. As you guys know, I live very close to the Rolls Royce factory, and every now and again you see one of these going on kind of final tests. And even before they were launched, I saw a couple of camouflage ones, and they just intrigued me. And as an ex-big 4x4 owner, I thought, I've got to drive one of those. And it's been quite a while that I've had to wait to finally get to drive one. It's not disappointed at all. Like I said earlier on in this film, this is definitely a car you need to meet in person and look at in detail. But when you get behind the driver's wheel, they're really very special. Hugely powerful, hugely smooth, very impressive. I would love to spend a bit more time in this car, get it off-road and really put it through its paces. But sadly, that's for another day. So I need to say a huge thank you to Bradley at Rolls Royce Motorcars of Bristol for inviting me along today. This is his brand new demonstrator. As I said, he's had it less than a week and I'm one of the first people to get to drive it, and I'm very, very grateful. So a huge thank you to him. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come, and from the opulence, luxury and splendour of the Rolls Royce Cullinan. I'll see you on the next film, guys, but you take care. Drive safe.